Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we will be going over this week's price action covering structure, supply and demand, order flow, high probability zones and lower time frame entries. I promise this will be a short video with loads of info for you guys. Feel free to study the lower time frame on your own to help with YouTube algorithm and also get this video out to viewers that needs it. A quick recap on the daily time frame. Daily swing and internal structure is bearish, and after a bust we expect a pullback on that time frame. How do we know the bearish run is over and daily wants to pull back? We wait for the first sign of strength, which is a daily change of character, which is this high we have over here. Why this high? This was our last pullback and we have another bearish run. As you can see, this candle's low breaks each other lows, making this our last internal high on the daily. So we need to see this high wicked or broken with a candle close to call this a daily change of character, and which shows sign of strength on the daily. But as you can see, we haven't gotten any daily change of character, which means daily is still bearish and the bearish run is not yet over. You can as well see another move down to the daily low. So heading down to the 4H, and the 4H, this is our current break of structure on the 4H, and since then we've had a bearish run. So how do we know 4H wants to pull back? You still wait for the first sign of strength, which is 4H change of character, which we got over here. This was our first sign of strength on the 4H, and since then internal structure have been making series of higher high and higher lows. And now getting to this week's price action, this is our current internal range on the 4 hour, which we will be going through on the median time frame, which is 15 minutes. So a quick recap on the 4H. On the 4H we had a internal break of structure, which makes this a strong internal low following order flow. This should be our weak internal high because we are bullish on the internal structure. So after a bust, we expect a pullback on the time frame. How do we know that the pullback is kicking in? We wait for the first sign of weakness, which is this low over here. As you can see, we haven't gotten a bearish change of character on the 4 hour internal structure, which makes this our sub break of structure. So we get this wicked. So marking out our premium and discounts, so we will be looking for long continuations from discounts, and we have these zones over here. This was the last mitigation of this zone that led to a break of structure, which makes this a good zone. And we still have another zone down here We still have another zone down here, this extreme. If price gets to this extreme, that's another zone. So heading down to the medium time frame, which is our 15 minutes. First of all, go through the 15 minutes zones, then we will go through the 1 minute entries to save a lot of time. So starting from the Monday 15 minutes is currently bearish. Heading into Monday, this was our swing on the 15 minutes, our high and our low, but internal structure has been making series of. Now getting into London, 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock over here, we had our first sign of strength over here, which shows that this bearish move has ended and the continuation is about to start. So we marked out our premium and discounts. We were waiting for price to come to the discount pricing to look for longs, which price came into discount pricing. We will check our lower time frame entries here later. So heading on Monday, 10 o'clock. This was the end of London session for me. I trade from 6 to 10. So heading into New York, and New York we had a break of structure, internal structure, leaving us with a new range, this low and this high. And we were waiting for price to pull back to discount pricing to look for long setups. This was the last zone that grabbed liquidity from this low and mitigated our 50% and also led to break of structure, making this a high probability zone to look for long trades. Like I said, later we will check our lower time frame entries here. So getting to New York, we also had our first sign of strength, which shows that this bearish pullback is over and the continuation is about to start. So we wait for price to pull back into the last demand that caused our change of character. Again, we will look for our lower time frame entries here. So that rounds up Monday price action. So heading into Tuesday, 7 o'clock, that's start of New York. Now 7 o'clock, heading into Tuesday, we had another break of structure and we also had a pullback into discount pricing, following the order flow. We put back to discount pricing, mitigating this demand zone over here. So how do we know that the bearish run is over and the continuation is about to kick in? You look for the first sign of strength, which we had over here. We had our change of character over here, and this was the last demand zone, the last sell to buy that led to this change of character which we marked out and wait for price to tap into our zone to look for lower time frame entries. Like I said, later we will check for lower time frame entries over here, and we had a nice momentum push into our 15 minutes extreme supply, taking this liquidity over here into our extreme supply zone. And this was 10 o'clock, and that's end of London session for me, so I didn't look for any trades over here. I can't really call it a day for me. So heading to Wednesday, seven o'clock. This was 7 o'clock on Wednesday, and this was our current range on Wednesday, marking our premium and discounts. We should be waiting for price to get into discount pricing to look for continuation trades. As well, if this supply zone was to hold, we should be looking for the first sign of weakness, which is 15 minutes change of character, which we have over here. This was our last low. As you can see, we didn't weak the low, making all this a substructure break. So heading into London, we had our first minor break of structure over here, which is our first sign of strength, which also validates that demand is still in these markets, and this is actually a weak high. There's not much supply. So now we marked out our premium and discounts and wait for price to get into discount pricing to look for trades. This was our last. This was our last demand. We were looking for trades. As you can see, we end up forming liquidity for this extreme zone, this extreme demand over here. Later, we will head down to the lower time frame to look for our entries over here and over here. So looking at what happened over here, price wicked our low, and we didn't close, which also means that this is a strong low, and this was a liquidity grab 15 minutes. Like I said, we will look for our lower time frame entries over here. And this rounds up Wednesday price action for me, because we had news on 1:30, which was this volatile movement we have over here. This was news CPI. Heading into Thursday, 7 o'clock was around here. We had a bearish boss on 15 minutes, which shows that 15 minutes is bearish. and we then marked out our premium and discounts. So heading into London, we had our first sign of strength, which shows that this bearish movement over here is over, and 15 minutes wants to pull back. So we are waiting patiently in this zone to look for our long trades, long entries, but we didn't get to pull back into discount. Price was heavy bullish to get into premium pricing. So this runs up towards the price action for us, as we didn't get any entry. So heading to Friday, which was last day of the week, heading into 7 o'clock, that was London session, we actually had our first sign of weakness, and since then we'll be having series of lower highs and lower lows. So heading into London, this was our last range. Heading into London. So marking out our premium and discounts, price was already in our premium pricing. So now we are waiting for our first sign of weakness to now look for trades from our supply zone, which we got over here, leaving us with a nice supply zone to look for trades. Like I said, later we will check for lower time frame entries from here, and since then we've had a bearish movement. So this runs up Friday's price action. So heading down to the lower time frame, on Monday, price came into our discount pricing, and we had a V-shaped recovery into supply zone. We also had a reaction from supply, and I was waiting for a candle close above our base reaction and a change of character to set my limits and take a continuation trades from this zone. We got a candle close above our base reaction and a change of character, but we didn't have a return to origin to tag us in for the continuation. So this was a no tag trade, no entry on Monday. There was no entry to 10 o'clock, and 10 o'clock runs up my London session for me. I only trade from 6 to 10 every day. So heading into New York, we had our 15 minutes change of character during New York. So we marked out our premium pricing, premium and discount pricing from the low to the high, and we were waiting for price to head down to discount pricing to look for longs, and price actually ended up grabbing liquidity in our 15-minute zone, leaving us with this last supply and our internal high that needs to be wicked to show us a sign of strength. The 1 minute, we actually had a reaction from supply, which also took liquidity and also caused a change of character, making this a high probability entry according to my plan. You can see price head into our zone, or just had a reaction, and we are used as liquidity to mitigate this extreme demand. And we then had our change of character, leaving us with a clean demand zone to look for continuation trade from, but we didn't get tagged in. So this rounds up Monday price action. Now heading into Tuesday London session. Around here we had our first sign of strength. Then we marked out our premium and discount pricing from the low to the high, and we wait for price to get into our discount pricing to look for trades. So price actually got into our zone, and we had a V-shaped recovery into supply, which we also had a reaction from supply, which validates that we had a supply over here, a supply zone over here, leaving us with a base reaction and our change of character, which we got both smashed, leaving us with nice demand zones to look for continuation. But price ended up going up without tagging us in. This also rounds up Tuesday price action for me. Heading into Wednesday, we had our first sign of strength on the 15 minutes, which we marked out our premium and discount pricing. We were waiting for price to get into our discount pricing, into this extreme demand. Which we got into, and we also had our 1 minute liquidity grab a change of character, and also had 1 minute break of structure, which we marked out our premium and discount pricing. We patiently wait for price to get into discount to look for continuation trades. This was the last zone. This was zones that stand out in our discount pricing. Price ended up reacting from this demand zone over here, which caused a change of character. 1 minute confirming this demand zone. So we waited patiently for price to get into our demand zone. I was actually cautious of this zone because we were also forming equal lows below this demand zone over here. So as I saw this change of character on the 1 minute, this actually validates there's demand in this zone, leaving us with a nice demand zone to look for continuation trades. As you can see, we got tagged in and price moved for 4R before taking us out. So this was a break-even trade. And on 15 minutes, we actually formed equal lows below our strong internal low. We have formed equal lows below this initial 15 minutes demand zone that we were waiting for price to get into. So we ended up grabbing liquidity from the low without crossing on the 15 minutes. Then heading down to this 1 minute, we saw a V-shaped recovery, a change of character after grabbing equal lows liquidity into demand zone, now leaving us with a nice demand to look for continuation trades from, which you see we got tagged in, and this trade was a runner. One of my best trades that I took this week. So this runs up Wednesday price action, both London and New York for me, because we had news around 1:30, CPI news around 1:30, which also gave us more momentum. Heading into Thursday, 15 minutes flipped bearish. Getting into London session, we already had our first sign of strength. We were waiting for price to get into our discount pricing to look for continuation trades. To look for counter trades at least to the 50% or to these supply zones. So price ended up impulsing into our supply zones, leaving us with no entry setup on Thursday. So that rounds up my Thursday price action. And heading into Friday, we already had our first sign of weakness from our 15 minutes extreme supply. And heading into Friday London session, we've been having a series of lower high and lower lows from our internal structure. So heading into London session, this was our range, this high and this low was our range on the 15 minutes. Following our mitigation, we had our first sign of weakness from the 15 minutes, which we marked out our premium and discounts. We waited for price to get into our premium pricing to look for sales. Price got into premium and also had another break of structure, leaving us with another range, this high and this low, which we marked out our premium and discount pricing. If you look, we only had a zone. We only had one zone that needs to be mitigated on this range of price and in our premium pricing, which is this extreme we had over here. Our last buy to sell candle, which we set our limit entry and 2 pips covering the high, which was also another runner trade for us, making it another high probability trade according to my plan that I took within this week. and our full TP was on 15 minutes week low for a total of 20R. So that rounds up this week's price action. Counting my status, my trade status this week, I had one loss and two massive wins, one for 45R and this for 20R. So this brings us to the end of this weekly recap. Hope you guys learned something from this video, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, comment and share to help with the YouTube algorithm so that this video can actually reach viewers that actually needs this video. And thank you for watching. See you guys next week. Peace out.